Welcome to Pink Lion Podcast. Today's guest is someone whose journey into mediumship wasn't born from a desire to connect with spirit. In fact, it was born from a lifetime of caring for people. Rebecca has spent much of her life in service to others through volunteering, supporting her community, and holding a special place in her heart for our older generation. Long before she began exploring mediumship, she was already living a life centered around compassion, empathy, and connection. In our conversation today, we're going to explore how these qualities shaped her path, what life experiences prepared her for this work, and how being deeply sensitive to others eventually opened the door to something more. Whether you're interested in mediumship, personal growth, or simply understanding what it means to live a life of service, I think you'll find something meaningful in Rebecca's story. Rebecca, welcome to the Pink Lion Podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh my God, you are welcome. I'm so glad that you agreed to do this because I feel like you have a unique story and one that hopefully others will find like some sort of meaning or I don't know, like some sort of understanding of their life and yours and how they maybe parallel together, you know?
Yes,
Because before we talk about any mediumship, I want to know who you are at your core.
Rebecca, at her core, I am basically a person who values love, family, and genuine connection. I'm someone who has faced challenges, and I think everybody faces challenges. There's no one out there perfect. I've learned from them and continue to grow from it. I try to lead with compassion, stay true to my values, and make a positive difference in the lives of the people I care about.
I think that that's great because being here for each other is really what it's all about, right?
Yes.
But I wanted to explore some of the roots of your compassion because you really are an empathetic, compassionate person. Somebody has so much love inside of them. And I think one time I'd asked you before, I was like, where do you want to go with all of this? Right. And you're like, I love working with elderly people. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I do.
And you do. And so I kind of was curious. Let's go back to the roots. What was your childhood like?
My childhood has its shares of challenges, of course, and I had to grow up a little faster than I would have liked. I had to become an adult very fast. And looking back, those experiences taught me resilience and empathy. They shaped the person I am today and gave me a deeper appreciation for life I've built.
Yeah. Were you always drawn to helping others?
I was not as much when I was younger, but as I got older, I became more of one to be drawn towards them. I found myself wanting to support people,
Mhm.
listen to them, or make them feel cared for. As I've gotten older, that desire has only grown. I've learned that helping others isn't always about fixing their problems. Sometimes it's just being present
Yeah,
and listening and showing compassion.
that's exactly right. It makes me curious to know, like, who were the biggest influences in your life when you were growing up?
Looking back, different people actually influenced me in
Mhm.
different ways. Some taught me what to do and others taught me what not to do. But both the positive and difficult experiences helped shape my values and made me stronger in how I treat others today.
What were those values in your family?
The values that stood out the most from my family are loyalty, resilience, and compassion. We didn't always have an easy road, but we learned to keep going, supporting each other, and do the best we could with what we had. Like I said, McDonald's was a treat for me when I was little.
Yeah, me too.
So those values have stayed with me throughout my life and just learning to be use my manners. I was always taught, please, thank you, growing up.
I have a little sidebar thing about McDonald's. When you said that, it totally brought back this memory for me when my mom would be like, "You want McDonald's? Here's a burger and two like here's your patty and your hamburger buns. Just pretend it's McDonald's." Like, the burger was like this thick. I'm like, what? Their patties are thin and they have these little
Yeah,
onion pieces on them and ketchup and mustard. It doesn't taste the
that's
same.
true. So this
What
ain't
was yours?
McDonald's.
What was yours like? Did you guys have that too?
Yeah, just going to McDonald's, that was a big treat for us.
Did your mom make you have McDonald's from home?
Can't remember if she did or not, but
God, that
she always cooked a lot, so it was like just going there was a treat just to get out of the house.
I tell you, I'm like, man, I don't even do that. That was so traumatizing. I don't even know why. Anyway. So when did you first realize that things felt differently from you than other people?
Looking back, I think I realized I was at a younger age.
Yeah.
I seemed to pick it up on other people's emotions very easily. Even when they weren't talking about what they were feeling, I would often sense when someone was upset, worried, or, carrying something heavy at
Hmm.
that time. I thought everyone experienced it back then, but it wasn't the same. It's like, but as I got older, I realized not everyone noticed those things as deeply.
Right. Some people are pretty empathic
Yeah.
and they can pick up like on people's energy like really quickly, right? They get really upset very easily or they can feel hurt like when somebody else is hurting, they can just feel that very deeply. Uh, and you were one of those people that felt that from an early age, right? Interesting. I kind of want to talk about your volunteer work and being of service, and you seem to have had a lifetime of it, and how these things sort of kind of go hand in hand. So as we sort of break this down for the listener, I was wondering if you could tell us what inspired you to do volunteer work. Like, when did that start, and what inspired you to kind of go in that
Well,
direction?
it always it started. My mom pretty much. I don't know if you remember a long time ago, but they had this thing called March of Dimes for
Yeah.
they did the walk, and Lord, you'd walk 20 miles, to help raise money for the babies. It started back then, and I've always had a heart for helping people. Volunteering felt like a natural extension of who I am. It gives me a sense of purpose to know that I can make someone's day a little easier, brighter, or more helpful. And it just, there were just so many different groups I got volunteered in, and they're all different, and you learn so many different new people, and different organizations do different things. So
Yeah. And, it's interesting. Can you tell everybody what you actually have done for volunteering? Because it's been a lot.
yes, Defenders for Children was a good one. And we also did stuff like to raise money. We did a fishing thing called Cast Out for Abuse.
Mhm,
Also did my daughter and I got into the Juliet Valentine Center, and that is a rape center
mhm,
for children and adults. And so we would volunteer at their luncheons, and they would have special guests to come in.
mhm,
And we actually got to meet two well-known people. So, and then the Miss South Carolina organization, when my daughter did pageants, she would have get involved in her
mhm.
town that she won her pageant in, and she would just volunteer. So I'd go with her, and we'd do it together. It was always a mom-daughter thing.
Right.
And then I did a lot of wanting to give back. So one year I did a Christmas thing for a girls' home, and I was like, okay, kids, will y'all be happy if we did Christmas presents for other people except for us? And they're like, yeah. So I think it helped teach my kids
Mhm.
that year that, because we actually got to bring the gifts to the girls' home, and we got to watch them open them. And when we left, all of us was in tears. And of
Yeah,
course, one of the kids was like, can we do the boys' home next?
that's
So
right. Why do you feel like this type of service or this volunteering service is so important to you?
I believe helping others is important to me because it's how I was raised. and it's become part of who I am. I've experienced both support and challenges in my life, and those experiences taught me the value of compassion. When you help along the way, you naturally want to pay it back forward.
Yeah, and I'm finding if I were to look around, this is very interesting to me because if we're all supposed to walk each other home, right, and help each other, this seems so natural to volunteer, to help, to be there for humanity, for each other in big ways and small ways. Some of us feel more called to do bigger things rather than smaller things. But I look around us, right? And we have this world around us, and there's so many people that judge.
Yeah,
If they don't agree with you religiously or politically or whatever the case is, whether you like red and they like blue, or you like pancakes and they like eggs, like it doesn't matter. There's a judgment seeming to happen a lot. And kind of like the whole like, why can't we all get along? But when you do service, you really truly are doing it out of an act of compassion and empathy for other people. So how come you selected or chose? I mean, does it go back to these family values? Like you just simply don't judge people.
I don't. I really don't.
So how is it that other people can maybe find this within them to set the judgment aside and to see their fellow man as somebody that they can find more in common with than they can the disagreements, right? So what do you recommend? What do you find?
To the judgment, everybody's gone through stuff in their life and everybody's had to learn lessons. And I'm still learning my lessons,
Hmm.
and so I wouldn't want somebody to judge me. So I look back when I'm out there doing stuff, or, you don't have to do something big to volunteer. You could be just small things, helping a neighbor, or, just sitting down listening to an elderly person just talk, or somebody that's having grief from losing, you know, a family member. But never judge. I mean, judging is just, I was taught always treat someone the way you want to be treated.
Yeah. You know what? I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're fine. I said, so that just keeps continuing in my head. And that's probably why I don't judge, because I want someone to treat me the way I'm going to treat them.
Yeah, and I feel like you have this calling to help, the elderly and kind of be there for them too. And that isn't everybody's calling, number one. But two, you also helped these abused people, children, women, and often there's shame associated with that and how they feel judged by other people. You simply there's some people that run away from the fire, and there are others who run toward the fire. I am somebody who runs toward the fire, and I know that you are too.
Yeah. I guess because, I know because I was attacked a long time ago. And so I understand certain things, but like Elizabeth Martin, what she had to go through was just completely devastating, and then David Pelzer, he was like the third in the US mostly abused child in the US. And I've listened to his books, on Audible. And when
Hmm.
I met him, it was just like, wow, what they've overcome, you know, it just gives you something to say, well, I was done wrong in my relationships,
Mm,
but if I can overcome like they did, it's something to it's very something to be proud about.
yeah.
And I guess that's why I get so drawn towards different things like that, because I can relate.
I just feel like all of this teaches us something, right? Like
Hmm.
one thing leads to the other, leads to the other. And all of it is teaching us about each other, about what we're capable of, about being there for one another. What has all of this taught you?
That helping someone isn't always about giving advice and or fixing their situation.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's just about being present and listening. I mean, I really been told I'm a great listener. So I do feel like that is a key part is listening to other people.
I can validate.
A lot of people just want to feel heard and not alone, and that can be more powerful than anything else.
When you work with the elderly,
Mhm.
what draws you to the older generation?
Gosh, first of all, I can tell you, I just think they're just adorable. You know, I just I see them. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, they're so cute," and some of them are spitfires, but I feel a more natural connection to older generations because I value listening and learning from them. A lot of time, I think people just want to be heard and remembered, and I find it meaningful to be a part of that, and they also have great stories.
They do. So what have they taught you?
Gosh, they've taught me that life is full of ups and downs, and I believe that.
Yeah.
But you keep going, and I've learned that resilience isn't about never struggling. It's about how you carry yourself through those struggles and still find meaning in life.
What could the younger generation learn from them?
Probably a good bit. Sometimes is how much life experiences shapes perspective.
Mm,
There's a lot only understand only after going through challenges, mistakes, and their time itself.
mhm. And do they
So they really have to learn through their lessons and their mistakes.
have you had any conversations that you'd never forget?
There has definitely been a lot of conversations I'll never forget. Some most meaningful ones were planned. They were moments where someone opened up about their life, their struggles, or their hopes. Those conversations stayed with me because they felt very real and human.
What's interesting about all of this is as you're talking, I'm literally remembering every older person that has come through in mediumship. They always have such wisdom
Wisdom.
and they talk about their life in pieces almost as if they go through these growth periods, of reflection and understanding and, you know, they're the first to apologize on the other side for maybe not handling a situation correctly or what have you. It's just these older souls that I think have so much to offer us and yet we don't listen or pay attention often. And maybe that's part of the lesson for us, right? To pay more attention, to pull up a chair and listen.
Exactly. I mean, even if you're in the grocery store and in line, there's an older person, just turn around and say, "How was your day?" You just don't know how that outcome will be.
Yeah, and oftentimes they're lonely. All their chickens have flew the coop, right? They have
Yep.
no more children at home. Maybe their children have moved away and they're not seeing their grandchildren as much. And so there's some loneliness that can happen and some depression, I'm sure, that can kick in.
I became really depressed after my kids left and, started their journeys. And so I can understand I guess that's a lot of a reason why I relate so much to the older
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah. Maybe volunteering, helping them get around or going to the grocery store, getting them to the grocery store. That's where the whole pineapple experience happened for me with my grandmother. Drop her to the grocery store. All right, for our listeners out there, I'm going to tell the pineapple story. I already have. I think I already have. You might have heard that in a past episode, but you have to go back and listen. I don't know which one it was. But the pineapple story is, just her just popping off some random fact or something about pineapple juice and your hoo ha and it smelling and tasting better. The heck? This 89-year-old woman is giving me this advice. But I mean, now it's just this thing that has grown in our community, whatever. But hey, I want to talk about how these experiences that you've shaped throughout your life now come to fruition in terms of you becoming aware, right, of your intuitive development, your mediumship, everything else. So, if before calling yourself or understanding your awareness into mediumship, did you even consider yourself a spiritual person?
I would say I was always spiritual, aware, but I don't think I fully understood it at the time. I believed there was something bigger than us, but I was still learning what that meant for me personally.
Okay. I get that. I was so there too, you know? And I think that looking back, right, there were signs probably that something bigger was unfolding, and that maybe was part of your empathic piece.
I was very empathic and I was like, but I didn't know what that meant, or what that was.
When did you start putting it all together?
I know that there wasn't any signs for me, but I didn't recognize them as anything spiritual back
Mhm.
then. I was just moving through life, but I always had a strong inner knowing and a pull towards helping others and understanding people on a deeper level.
But you had to have some sort of spark that made you go towards intuitive development. I just kind of was curious what that was. That's my curious mind.
I just when I've always loved. I know Matt Frazier and Teresa Caputo, but I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I just became very fascinated, you
Mhm.
know, and then when I found out that everybody has these gifts, and but everybody gets them different. It's not we're all not the same. So I wanted to take classes and to actually play around to figure out what is it that I have, or is it something else I can put towards some other person that I could help, like passing it on. So that's when I signed up for your class and I love just being in the classes. I know I need more practice.
You're so funny.
I love your classes.
Well, thank you.
It's
That's
actually helped me become very aware of certain things, and it has helped me to turn into myself of my healing. Even
Mhm.
though I'm out there volunteering and helping others, I need to turn around and help myself.
Right. You're just as important. We put so much time and energy into others. Sometimes our family members, the care that we give other people, we don't always give back to ourselves.
No, we don't.
So
And
there's
I
this,
didn't realize that. I thought it was just normal
right?
to do for them, and do for everybody else. But you do, you have to take care of yourself and make yourself happy, you know?
We're told, don't be selfish. Don't be,
No,
thinking all the time. It's like, but you really do have to put as much love and care into yourself as you do into other people. And so it's about respecting yourself. It's about
it
taking care
is.
of yourself. And when you do that, you have more respect and self love. You can give it out easier. It's so much easier. We
So true.
definitely have not been taught, in what my opinion, this is just my opinion, don't shoot the messenger. But like I feel like that's an important piece and it should be the first thing taught, you
It
know?
should. It should because many years of me doing for others and I never really did for myself. And it's like everybody keeps saying, okay, well, what makes you happy? Or what do you do? I was like, well, first of all, I love my grandkids. That's what makes me happy. Of course, I love my kids, but there's something about grandkids. It's just family makes me happy,
Mhm.
you know? It's not about material things. It's just being around people.
That makes sense. Can I share with you my thoughts?
Yes, ma'am.
So when we live here, we have all these things. Like you guys see things in my background, things in her background, none of which we take with us when we go. We literally leave the body. That's it. That's what we take, our soul,
For sure.
right? So if we only take the soul, why is it that we put so much priority and so much weight in the things in our lives? We could
Mhm.
actually do so much better with fewer things in our lives. Fewer
Exactly.
more time to spend with the connection, the people in our lives. And I feel like that is the connection, right? That you have, that bond that you have with people here and also people that have crossed to the other side. It's the connection that never leaves.
So
And
true.
why we grieve it so much, in my humble opinion, is because we can't perceive what we can't see. We haven't been
Exactly.
taught how to hear. And so, as you've developed into your mediumship, what does that look like for you? Is this connection between soul to soul, right? We have this
Mhm.
soul to soul connection. So the question becomes like, how did you start to lean into that whisper and how did you recognize it that it would be mediumship that you would be experiencing? Was it
Well, when I
start?
first started the class, it was gonna be, is just an intuitive class. But I guess, we everybody in there, we started talking mediumship stuff and stuff was just coming to me. I mean, sometimes I would see images but I wasn't hearing anything. But then, I had to ask my teacher, of course.
So I want to talk about your developing mediumship and the trust that you have to kind of gain along the way, right? So what has surprised you most about mediumship?
I think the biggest surprise has been realizing that things I once dismissed actually had meaning for me personally. The more I've reflected, the more I've learned to trust it, what I sense rather than question it immediately.
It's really good. What's been the hardest part for you?
I think the hardest part has been sorting through doubt because everybody's going to have doubt, trying to understand what's intuition and what's emotion and what's just life experiences. That process has required a lot of self reflection and honesty and with myself and also making time to practice, which I'm bad at.
There we go. Yep. She admitted it right here on the
I
pod.
admit it.
Need to get better at that. But I think that trust is a big part in all of this, right? And it's really, really hard to trust the things that you get because you'll be seeing, for those of you who don't understand mediumship yet, you'll see an image in your mind's eye and then you'll have a feeling that kind of comes over at the same time and then you'll get like a ping of something else. So I might
Exactly.
be seeing a man sitting at a poker table smoking a cigar with a shit-eating grin on his face while feeling like I used to drink this particular like prime alcohol, but then I
Hmm.
get this also ping of anger when I drink. Okay.
Hmm.
So it's happening simultaneously. All of my clairs are firing at the same time, and that happens in a millisecond. And that's what mediumship is like. So then we have to interpret what the heck that all means.
And then we have to we want to get the evidence
Right.
because
So we
you
have
want to give them the evidence. And
yeah.
then we need to figure out the story for that
Right. So it may
person.
look like I am observing a man sitting at a poker table with a cigar hanging out of his mouth, and he looks middle aged to me, and he's got this shit eaten grin on his face. Would you understand that? You're first getting a validation of what you're seeing, they
Huh?
can understand. Okay. You get the validation. Yes. Then you explore the feeling next, right? I feel like he was somebody who liked to drink this premium alcohol, what have you, in this type of glass. Would you understand that? Again, more evidence, but it's starting to tell a story. Next,
Exactly.
after I would be playing poker and games and drinking and all of this, it feels like if I had too much alcohol, I might become more angry or irritable. Would you understand that? So,
Yeah.
one, I'm not asking questions. I'm getting the would you understand that I'm feeling these things correctly? And once I do, I get yeses along the way. I'm going to get the next piece. It's just going to,
Exactly.
and
Yeah, you gotta
so,
get the piece out of piece out of piece to be able to tell the story.
right, exactly. And so, unfortunately, like some mediums just will ask a question like they make you work for
Yeah, and so I'd rather have the evidence like you're
yeah,
teaching.
evidence. Right. Boom, 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 boom. So that's kind of how it works for us. And so navigating that and trusting it, because you will get some wild things that you're like,
Yes.
really? Okay,
Like,
let me
why did I get that?
so that's establishing the trust. And so Rebecca, going back to the trust question, right?
Mhm.
And like, what has your empathy like? How have you relied on these different emotions, your empathy, and like helped you as a medium? So like, helped you to establish and trust what you get, because there's also a knowing aspect. Sometimes you just know things, like you just
Yeah,
know it.
definitely knowing.
Your strongest clairs, by the way.
Do what?
Once you get going, your knowing kicks in and it's
Yeah, I know, it does.
boom, 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 boom. It's accurate. It's really good to watch.
My empathy has taught me how important it is to listen without assumption. It helps me stay open and present. It reminds me that every person's experience is unique and deserves care and respect.
And I think that that translates over into your readings too, right? Where your brain doesn't get in the way. You're just allowing the info because you're such a good listener. You're just paying attention to what's coming in, but you're not trying to figure it out. Like you're just letting it
Yeah, I
come.
think that's why I can't get my stories exactly right yet because I'm sitting there and I'm seeing stuff,
Right.
but I've got to figure out, even though I'm listening, but I got to figure out how to tell the story the way it needs to be done,
Right.
for that person. And
That'll
'cause-
happen in time. And that's going to, once the other players start firing with the other ones, you're going to get it all. It'll
yeah.
just,
And like I told you, I love doing the classes. It just, it lifts me up knowing that I do have gifts and I'm going to be able to help others, which is something I love to do, and I'm just taking my time at learning.
I think that's great. But you know, it's challenging and it can be this mixed wiring of stuff, right? So, like, here you are empathetic. Then you're like in your human world, dealing
My
with
human world.
grandkids, all this friends, all this like life happening around you. And then you also have the mediumship aspect of it. And I'm just sort of wondering how you manage your emotions versus your empathy versus the mediumship. Like how are you managing all of that?
That's something I've had to learn over time. Early on, I would carry a lot of emotion, but I realized that wasn't sustainable. Now I focus on compassion with boundaries. I've had to learn a lot of setting boundaries so I can support others without losing myself in it.
It sounds like you're learning how to not carry other people's stuff.
Yeah,
Like
because
even
I used to keep it like bottled in. I
right.
And I had to learn boundaries. I didn't know I needed boundaries, and I didn't know what boundaries was when I was a very sheltered person, growing up. So
So you
I'm
have
learning.
your early years, you have your family values, you understand you're empathetic, but you're also compassionate. So you have this life of service. You're going through your life, you're going through your journey. What has everything like, well, I guess I should say, what are you learning about yourself throughout this entire process?
What I'm learning about myself,
Yeah.
that I'm still the same person. I'm just learning different things about myself that I never knew I had. And it's actually more that I can use to help a different kind of group of people, and I'm looking forward to being able to do that. Like I said, I think I've told you earlier before, I would love to work with the elderly. I don't know what I can and can't do with my mediumship with the elderly, and going into places and helping them. But, and also the younger version, maybe learning because I think a lot of them they just stay on their phones all the time. They're always on the internet or, when we look back when we were growing up, we didn't have no phones and we
No,
didn't have no internet.
no, we
We
definitely did.
learned we learned by what we saw and what we've learned from other people. And I was very blessed that my mom was a very loving, caring person.
Hmm.
And so that's that's taught me a lot to bring myself back to who I was before all my trauma, that I've had.
Yeah, I know. It's really interesting how you review your life, you know?
Yes.
And even for me, as I listen to you, I can so relate to your story. Oh my God, I can so relate to it because it's kind of like me, right?
Hmm. Maybe you're my twin.
Maybe. I have a lot, like, I know that I'm doing a lot right now. I
You
understand it's
are.
a full-time job. and I'm doing this mediumship stuff and I volunteer in my community and I do the jobs no one else really wants to do.
True. I do it too. Yes.
And I do it for other people, not necessarily for myself because I'm all twisted up. Like I would
Yeah.
rather not do that. So I have to find better balance. But as I've looked over my life, and I'm kind of curious about yours too, and I've just sort of seen the pain and I've seen the happiness and I've seen it all braided together like in this perfect symphony, right? To pull me to this exact moment in time to be as present as possible for all of you. And I, being present and being connected to God, source, highest power, whatever you want to call it, I have found my calling. Have you?
Think I know what my calling is definitely learning my mediumship and my psychic abilities and keep doing what I've been doing is being a healer, listening. That's what I feel.
And maybe part of that is included with maybe the elderly who might be in the last phase of their life here to help them understand things if they have questions or to just listen and know when it's appropriate to talk about it and ease
Exactly.
their concerns or worry or help walk them home in such a way that they can have some meaningful experiences left, here for their highest and greatest good. I wouldn't say that their life isn't meaningful up till now. It's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying their relationship with God, source, highest power can be amplified in a
Or
way.
helping someone cross over, that would be beautiful.
Yeah. Well, they're going to do it no matter what, right? But holding
Yeah,
their hand to make them less scared here, that's super helpful.
be beautiful and it would be helpful and it would be, I don't know, I always felt I had a bigger purpose on this earth.
Yeah.
I felt like everything that I have gone through in my life, the trauma, that I've earned my wings. So I never thought about getting a tattoo in my life. I just never was one to want a bunch of tattoos. So something popped in my head, of course, and I did. I went and got one. I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get my wings because I feel like it was time.
Mhm.
So I've got these big, beautiful wings with a cross on the back of my back.
Nice.
And so I feel like right now I'm an earth angel. But when it's time for me to go, I want to be my Lord's angel.
Mhm. That's great. I love that. That's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I just wanted to ask if you wanted to share a message with any of the listeners for them to take with them today.
I would want listeners to remember that kindness matters more than we realize. You never know what someone else is carrying. Even small acts of compassion or presence can make a real difference in someone's life.
Really can. Yeah. I find that, I mean, we get it such a bad rap with certain people. I don't even understand it. Taking advantage of people, I guess. I don't know. I know for me, I'm well intended. I know for you, you are too. Like, I'm trying to help people manage and move through their grief in a way that allows them to understand they're already connected to their loved ones.
Yeah.
They
You
just need paint by
just have to
number.
be more relaxed tr-
Yeah.
and I know I've been getting a lot more. I know of course, I'm going to say it again. Haven't been practicing a lot.
Oh, stop. It's all right.
But I do lay there and close my eyes and I get a sense
Mhm.
of, you know, or I could see like images of just, but it's not completely clear like it was when I was younger, but it'll come in and I'll be like, okay, I saw that. So now it's just trying to figure out the message.
Yeah, for me too, I'm literally trying to help people paint by numbers. They already have all the numbers, they just need to connect the dots. And so
And
that's
I'm one of those.
That's what this podcast is about, and that is what I do when I hit my lives, and I'll still have people accuse me of trying to take advantage of people. I'm like, "Really? It's all free."
Mm, you
So,
do not.
sure, where that comes from, I'm doing free stuff. I mean, yeah, I do have privates available because I respect myself and my time. My time is valuable, but I'm
Exactly.
also giving back because I think it's important. And so, podcast is free. The, you know, the lives are
And
for
I
my,
love that you do that,
yeah.
especially the podcast, of course, because everybody, not just, who everybody can go into these podcasts and listen. And like you said earlier, it might be something that someone relates to and might want to reach out later on to somebody. And
Totally. And for me, I think so that's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. So there's 8 hours a week that I do in straight volunteer for mediumship.
there you
Okay.
go.
Then there is my once a month, but all these emails always going through for the
Yeah, you're
HOA.
constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's more. It's probably about, 11 hours a month or 11 hours a week, I should say, that I'm volunteering. And if somebody wants to criticize me, that's fine. But check yourself at the door. Because if you're not
exactly.
putting in those same number of hours in volunteer,
Don't judge. There you go. Don't
then
judge.
I'm going to challenge you right back because people always want to throw stones in glass houses and they should be very careful to check themselves first before they start criticizing others? So
Yeah,
I'm good at doing that. I think I'm good at making sure that I try to, at most cases, check myself at the door too, because I find that when we start giving back more and more to people, and helping them through whatever stage of life they're in, that's the most important part. So, acts of service and kindness and being there for one another, hopefully, this will inspire more people to step into that space.
I hope so. Because, I mean, even if you just help some people, it doesn't even have to be the elderly. Like if you see them at the grocery store, help them take their bags to their car.
Right.
It's a
Right.
kind gesture. Because you might not know that person might not have the ability to pick up stuff, or you just don't know what's going on with anybody.
I
And
mean, girl,
talk to them, listen.
that's exactly right. Their muscle structure has deteriorated over time. I mean, it's that just happens with age. So picking up a pallet of water for them and bringing it into their house, or
Exactly.
couple bags of groceries when they're struggling, even offering to drive an elderly neighbor to the store so they can do their grocery shopping. It's just a simple act of kindness that can really mean something to them.
And I love cooking.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I do a lot more cooking because I had 5 kids at home at one time, and so it was like, okay, making bunches of food to go into just making a couple, you know, for 2 people. So I will make bowls and hand them out to some of the people that I know that would appreciate it.
That's so great. That is so
Yeah.
great.
And then I started working on cookies just because I needed something to do because I don't have all my groups that I was in before. I forgot to mention I was on the board of Mental Health of America in Granville County, and I was on that board for 5 years. And we had a big thing about a text where you could text in if you needed someone to talk to,
Mm,
and I would go down there and I'd see the room where the volunteers were down there answering and talking. Of course, you had to go through these programs to be able to do that. And a lot of it was veterans, because of the wars and everything. And I can so understand that. That's why we never want to judge anyone because we have people who out there fighting our wars.
so true. Oh my God, it's so true. So there's so many things that you could be doing to help people. So many things. But
So that now it's just like I want to keep my grandchildren and make cookies, which I'm trying my hardest at.
girl, like seriously, if anyone wants to order her cookies, they're really freaking good. She
I made
sent
over 85 cookies this week for Father's Day just to hand out for dads over here in my new neighborhood.
That's really great. I love your cookies because even though you're all the way across, we're on 2 coasts. So you shipped them to me for Easter, and my gosh, you guys, they're delicious.
I made the duck with pink hair for you.
Yeah, it was great. So where can they, take a look at your cookies, and where can they order them if they want to?
I don't have what is it on Facebook? But I never go on Facebook, but I go on my cookie site. I guess just look up Rebecca Hughes on Facebook and see if you can find the cookie part of it.
I'll
But,
probably put a
or you
link in
can
the bio.
email me.
Yeah, you can email. So how can they reach you if they wanna get in touch with you?
You can send me an email at Rebecca at yourshots.biz.
Okay, and I'll put a link in the bio too of this episode. So if anyone wants to ask more questions or order cookies,
I
you're welcome
know
to get in touch with her because
they're probably
she's,
not as good as Girl Scout cookies, but they look pretty. I've heard they're really good.
yeah, they taste good. But sometimes, we just need to treat ourselves a little bit.
They do.
So, Rebecca, thank you so much for joining me
Thank you
today.
for inviting me.
Conversation, and I appreciate it because service is a really big part of what we do. So,
Service is a lot of what we do.
absolutely. I appreciate you. Thank you, love.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a good weekend. We will see you next week. Take care.